The timing of the universe is infallible, making the invisible visible, unmasking masks in one fell swoop. That arrogant figure who recklessly entered your sacred space thought that the rules would not apply to him. But he did not know that you are not an ordinary person, but a divine being who changes the tune of destiny. Even your silent presence changes the direction of storms. Write 777 in the comments now. There is no turning back now, no excuses, no bargaining. Only someone left eating the fruit of his own arrogance. And that fruit is the truth itself, knotted in his throat. The universe's timing is flawless, bringing forth a revelation that shatters all illusions. That bold figure who dared to enter your realm, believing the rules didn't apply to them, was met with a force unlike any other. Their bravado quickly turned into vulnerability as your presence alone redirected the course of events. No room for negotiation, no more chances, only the inevitable consequences that followed their arrogance. Now, they are left to choke on the remnants of their own choices, realizing too late the gravity of their misstep. With nothing more than your presence, the false empire they built began to crumble. Their carefully laid plans fell apart at the seams, brick by brick. The puppet master was undone, the strategist outplayed, and the predator became prey. Those who followed them now stand in the shadow of their downfall, caught in the web of their own miscalculations. Every moment that passes, their spiritual reserves are drained, unable to replenish. The universe has withdrawn its favor, and their connection to the source of their strength has faltered. Their once abundant potential is now deemed a liability, their past opportunities now reduced to mere illusions. Picture this, beloved, a grand structure, standing tall and proud, built with stone and mortar. It seemed unshakable, an edifice of strength, until one day a mighty storm began to stir in the distance. At first, it was nothing but a whisper on the wind, but soon the storm grew closer and closer, and with each gust, the foundation that had once held everything together trembled. The walls creaked, the windows rattled, and cracks began to spread like a wound in the earth itself. What once appeared immovable now faced its breaking point. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom, for you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. As the pressure builds, the cracks widen, and the facade of loyalty, the plastered smile that once hid their true intentions, begins to crumble. These followers who once pledged their allegiance to you, who stood by you in the light, now scramble for self-preservation, like animals sensing the coming storm. They abandon their supposed solidarity as quickly as the trees abandon their leaves in the dead of winter, shedding any weight that could slow their escape. Their roots were never deep. Their connection was never true. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. They were standing on a foundation of sand, not solid rock. Now that the winds of truth are howling, their fragile unity, the web they once wove together with whispered promises and deceit, begins to unravel. It falls apart, piece by piece, like a cheap suit on a stormy night. Each of them, once so united, now only cares for their own survival. Their allegiance wasn't to a cause, nor to a truth. They were simply there to chase what they could take, not what they could give. Imagine a house of cards, built high, with delicate hands and fragile intentions, rising so carefully, so meticulously. But then, a gust of wind, your divine presence, sweeps through the space, and it all comes crashing down. What was once a solid structure, a foundation built on lies and deception, now crumbles with each passing moment. The walls they erected for protection are now nothing but paper-thin facades, exposed for all to see. What they thought would shield them from the consequences of their actions is now the very thing that betrays them. What they believed to be an unbreakable fortress is now revealed for what it truly is: hollow, weak, and shallow. The very foundation that once seemed unshakable is now shaking beneath the weight of its own falsehoods. And as the structure falls, so does their vision of power. What was once a shared dream of domination now stands as a shattered reflection of desperate souls, scrambling in the wreckage of their own making. They now fight for their own survival, each one for themselves, lost in the chaos of their own destruction. The unity they once claimed is now nothing but a memory, a broken promise, fading away into the past. They had built their empire on a lie, and now they face the truth. Nothing built on deception can withstand the force of divine reality. You, beloved, stand firm, watching as their false structure collapses, for you were never part of their illusion. As the dust settles, they find themselves with nothing but the weight of their own decisions. The walls they thought would protect them now serve as a reminder of the truth they tried to hide. Each crumble, each fall, is a testament to their disalignment with the divine order. They thought they could stand tall on the backs of lies, but now they are left to face the consequences of their own creation. And you are standing in the light of truth, free from the debris, walking in alignment with your purpose, while they are left to sift through the remnants of their shattered empire. Now, as they face the reality of their collapse, they are left with only one choice: to rebuild, but this time, the foundation must be truth. Without it, they are doomed to repeat the cycle of destruction. You, however, are moving forward, no longer burdened by their falsehoods. You've transcended the need for their validation, and in doing so, you have become the beacon of divine power and unshakable purpose. Like a house of cards knocked over by the breeze, their illusion of solidarity is gone, replaced by the raw reality of their fear. They once wore loyalty like a badge of honor, but now it slips off their shoulders as easily as a worn-out cloak. In the face of true accountability, their false unity dissolves faster than a mirage in the desert, and what remains is each individual left exposed and scrambling for survival. The strings that once held them together, pulled by the illusion of power, now snap one by one, revealing that they were never in control at all. In the sudden silence that follows, those who once stood shoulder to shoulder are now scattering, like a flock of birds at the first sign of danger. Where once there was a united front, now there are only shadows of the past, each one lost in their own panic, trying to escape the consequences that are closing in. They scatter in every direction, fighting to keep their place, but their foundation was never strong enough to withstand the storm. Their once collective strength is now just individual weakness, each scrambling to save themselves. Their plans, once aligned, now fall apart, like a symphony turned into noise. Their communication breaks down. Their shared purpose fractures. They no longer work as a unified whole. They are now islands, isolated and desperate. But don't you worry, beloved. You are always standing on solid ground. The pressure that has brought about this crumbling was never meant to break you. It was meant to reveal the truth. What was built on deceit was never meant to last. But what is true, what is founded on divine purpose, will stand strong. While they squabble in the ruins of their own making, you rise with grace and strength, unshaken by the chaos they've caused. For every false alliance that crumbles, for every relationship that dissolves, you stand taller. What was never meant for you falls away, making space for the genuine, the sacred, the ones who will stand with you in truth, not in fear. The storm may have exposed the lies, but it has also paved the way for something greater. The destruction of their empire is the construction of your divine ascension. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take is secured by His strength. And now you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the super thank you button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. You see, while they exhausted themselves with their schemes, you stood still, centered in your truth. They misunderstood your silence, mistaking it for weakness, but it was your greatest strength. They rushed headlong into conflict, while you patiently allowed the universe to unfold in its perfect timing. You knew the power of divine stillness, the power of allowing the truth to rise to the surface on its own. Your non-reaction wasn't an absence of power, it was the presence of faith. Your non-reaction wasn't an absence of power, it was the presence of faith. Faith in your divine purpose, faith in the forces that work behind the scenes, and faith in the truth that would always reveal itself in the end. And now, they are left struggling, unable to comprehend the forces they've stirred. They thought they could manipulate, control, and deceive, but they didn't realize that the forces they challenged were far beyond their understanding. Their spiritual blindness has led them to their own downfall, while your vision, grounded in divine clarity, has kept you safe. Watch as they scramble, as their world falls apart. The universe has already balanced the scales. What they intended for your destruction will be the catalyst for your transformation. Their attempts to push you down have only served to elevate you higher. With each attempt to hold you back, they've only propelled you forward. And now, beloved, it's your time to shine. While their efforts to ruin you collapse, you stand firm, knowing that nothing in this world can block the flow of divine favor. Their desperation only serves to fuel your ascension. And while they struggle to stay relevant, you move forward in purpose, in clarity, in unstoppable grace. With trust evaporating and suspicion filling the void, their carefully constructed network begins to unravel. The communication once flowing freely is now marred by misunderstandings and misalignments. Their unity dissolves under the weight of broken connections, and the very bond they built to defend themselves becomes the instrument of their defeat. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. While they spent energy weaving complex schemes, you held your ground with quiet strength. Your power didn't manifest in loud declarations or frantic action, but in stillness, calm, unwavering, and resolute. Every attempt they made to provoke you was met with peaceful silence, a response that shattered their tactics and exposed their deepest miscalculations. They mistook your calm demeanor for passivity, failing to realize that this quiet strength was their greatest threat. Their arrogance led them to believe your restraint was a sign of fear, not understanding that the true power lies in choosing not to react. They didn't realize that all storms begin with stillness, that the most powerful forces are often hidden in plain sight, waiting to strike when least expected. Their attempts to rile you up fell flat, as each attempt to hook you into their narrative was ignored, leaving them frustrated and powerless. While they exhausted themselves with distractions, your energy continued to expand. Where they saw limitations, you saw opportunities. As they narrowed their scope, your world only broadened. Their pathways closed off, while you walked new, untrodden roads, gaining momentum with each step. You refused to play by their rules, and in doing so, you turned their strategy upside down. They prepared for conflict, but you brought only peace. Their tactics to engage you in battle were met with silence, leaving them unprepared for the stillness that proved to be your greatest weapon. It's like the river that carves its way through the earth, not in a rush, but steady and sure, shaping the landscape with every passing moment. The water doesn't force itself upon the land. It simply flows with purpose. And as it moves, the earth must adjust. No matter how the rocks and the soil resist, the river continues, carving deep valleys, shaping new paths. This, beloved, is how your journey works. As you began to release your attachment to the dynamics that once held you captive, you allowed yourself to flow freely. And in doing so, you created a space, a sacred space, for something far greater to enter. The very moment you stepped out of the struggle, you opened the door to divine freedom. Your detachment became the key that locked them in the very chaos they once sought to entangle you in. Like a predator chasing its prey, they can only fixate on what is just beyond their reach. The harder they chase, the more they sink into the quicksand of their own obsession, and all the while, you rise. Imagine this: a balloon drifting high above the earth. As it rises, it lets go of the weight, strings, weights, and anchors that once held it down. And the higher it floats, the more the earthly distractions below become small, insignificant, as they fade into the distance. What was once close and overwhelming is now just a blur, lost beneath the cloud of your higher perspective. You, my beloved, are that balloon. As you released your attachment to those who sought to manipulate you, you released the very energy they needed to survive. No longer tethered to their gravitational pull, you soared. Now, they watch as you rise with ease, unable to stop your flight. Their obsessive attempts to cling to your energy only pull them deeper into their own isolation, while you move with divine grace. This is the power of non-attachment, not indifference, but purposeful freedom. You've chosen to be in the flow of your divine path, not swayed by the petty distractions of those who once thought they could control your journey. Here's where the divine law of opposites comes into play. The moment you chose freedom, their obsession with you intensified. It's as if by releasing your attachment, you trapped them in a loop of their own making. Think of it like a magnet. When you turn it just the right way, it pulls the opposite ends together. You shifted your energy, not to push them away, but to align with your higher purpose. And they, unable to understand this divine law, find themselves drawn to you even more, desperately clinging to what they cannot control. Their fixation grows stronger, yet you, my dear, are moving on. You are moving forward, unburdened by their manipulations and their need for validation. It's like watching a car stuck in a ditch, spinning its wheels, trying to go nowhere fast. No matter how much energy they put into the chase, no matter how many times they pull and strain, they remain stuck. You, however, have already moved beyond them. You've left that energy behind like a bird that has flown out of the reach of the hawk, soaring to heights they can only dream of. I want you to hear this truth today. When you let go of the need to control or fix situations that are not aligned with your divine purpose, you set yourself free. You release the need to prove your worth, to explain your actions, to justify your decisions. When you step into your purpose with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth, those who once sought to distract or derail you will find themselves chasing shadows. It is as if they are trying to hold on to something that is slipping through their fingers. Your peace, your centeredness, becomes the very thing that exposes their chaos. As you allow yourself to step into the fullness of your divine calling, you leave them standing in the wake of their own confusion, struggling to find solid ground. They'll try to hold on to your energy, but all they'll encounter is air, as you've already lifted yourself beyond their reach. Your energy, once given freely, is now a sacred treasure, preserved for those who will honor and respect it. Beloved, as you continue to walk forward, unburdened by the need to engage with the distractions of your past, you will notice something powerful unfolding. The universe begins to conspire in your favor. The very moment you detach from toxic cycles, divine doors begin to open wide before you. It's as if the universe itself knows the weight you've been carrying. And now, with the release, the floodgates of blessings pour into your life. The moment you stop chasing the approval or validation of those who sought to hold you back, you invite an abundance of opportunities, divine connections, and blessings that are aligned with your higher self. Your energy becomes magnetic, not because you are trying to attract attention, but because you have created space for what truly belongs to you to flow in. The chains that once bound you, chains forged by their deceit, their manipulation, their need for control, now fall away. With each step you take in divine confidence, those chains are shattered. You rise higher, stronger, and more radiant than ever before. And as they watch you ascend, they find themselves trapped in the very web they wove for you. This is the divine truth I want you to understand today. Freedom comes when you release what no longer serves you, and in that release, you become untouchable. As they chase after your energy, they only deplete themselves further. Your peace, your stillness, your unwavering purpose becomes the very force that accelerates their collapse. They try to grab onto something they cannot grasp while you soar freely, guided by the higher forces that work in alignment with your purpose. Let them scramble, let them struggle, let them waste their energy in futile attempts to hold on to what they cannot control. Your energy is too pure, too focused to be used for their distraction. And as they spin in circles, you move forward into your destiny, unbothered, unstoppable, and divinely protected. As the storm of their chaos continues to swirl around them, you stand in the eye of the storm, unshaken, unbothered, and aligned with your divine path. You are the storm that cannot be contained, the light that cannot be dimmed. And with each passing day, you grow stronger, wiser, more connected to the abundant flow of the universe that is yours by divine birthright. Remember, your freedom is the key that sets you apart. You are no longer weighed down by the need to engage with the chaos that once surrounded you. You are stepping into your highest self, your highest purpose, and with each step, you leave behind those who were never meant to travel with you. Their attempts to hold you back only serve to propel you forward into the vastness of the life you are destined for. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially, far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as His mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed, and let the light of the Lord guide your path. Around you, unseen forces shield your path, guarding you from any attempts to breach your sacred space. These ancient protectors operate outside the realm of ordinary perception, ensuring that no harm comes your way. They never saw this force surrounding you, unaware that their attacks were always intercepted long before they could reach you. Your intuition guided you effortlessly through their maze of deceit, cutting through their illusions with ease. While they tried to confuse and distract you, your inner compass never wavered, always keeping you aligned with your truth. They sought to deceive you, but you remained unshaken, powered by an inner knowing that could not be misled. While they boasted about their power and spiritual practices, you embodied true authority. Their efforts to imitate your alignment were futile because the power they sought to replicate was already inside you, radiating naturally from within. They envied what they could never truly possess, recognizing your authentic connection to the source. They were shaken to their core, realizing that they had underestimated the forces they were up against. What they thought was a simple battle was in fact a confrontation with energies beyond their comprehension. They were unprepared to challenge someone who walked with such deep spiritual insight, unaware of the entities that supported you every step of the way. As you continue to rise toward your destiny, they descend into their own downfall. Your path is filled with infinite possibility, while their road grows more narrow, their potential diminishing with each passing day. The more you grow, the further apart your journeys become, until their collapse is inevitable. Your transformation is undeniable, and those who once ignored you now cannot escape your brilliance. Your presence commands attention, and your light continues to shine, regardless of their attempts to dim it. Even as they fight to stay relevant, they cannot help but watch as you ascend to new heights. Your every step a reminder of the difference between their failure and your success. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Their attempts to replicate your success have failed miserably. They can't seem to create anything of lasting value, their efforts producing only hollow results. What they believe to be progress is nothing more than fleeting distractions, while your success is rooted in a deeper, more lasting foundation. The ego they built around their false superiority is now crumbling, with or without their approval. The mask they wore for so long is finally falling away, revealing the true fragility beneath. As they try to hold on to the past, you continue to move forward, leaving them behind in the dust. Your happiness, independent of their existence, is the ultimate form of success. While they remain stuck in their bitterness and frustration, you thrive, unburdened by their efforts to bring you down. Each goal you achieve highlights their stagnation, and each victory you claim proves their error in underestimating you. Cosmic forces are at play, aligning perfectly in your favor. As you continue to grow, synchronicities occur at every turn, guiding you toward the right opportunities and resources. Timing becomes flawless, and you are provided with exactly what you need when you need it.